a dream. My four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Welcome, everyone. And on behalf of Mayor Jerry L. Demings and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Initiative, thank you for joining us today. I'm Monica May.
And I'm Lisa Bachman. Monica and I have the pleasure of co-chairing the Orange County Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Initiative. We look forward to sharing life and love from Dr. King's perspective all year round. This week, Wisdom Wednesday will cover the second decade of Dr. King's life. We're lucky to have Dr. Renisha Randall, who is a native of the City Beautiful. She's currently an administrative dean at Sunridge Middle School. Dr. Rowe, as she's affectionately called, is also the creator and founder of Be That LLC. This is a youth, women, and professional empowerment and coaching company, and it teaches people to thrive, hope, affirm, and transcend.
Dr. Rowe will look at the elements of time covering 1939 through 1949. During that period, Dr. King was in middle and high school. His grandmother passes and he's struggling to believe in Christ. This is also the time when Dr. King starts taking trips north and is heading to college. He was a proud Morehouse man.
Dr. Rowe also covers his graduation during that time. We will first turn the program over to Dr. Earl Mawat, who will share some of Dr. King's inspiring words, and then we will hear from Dr. Rowe, CEO and founder of Be That.
When we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city.
Hello, I'm Dr. Earl Mawat, Vice President of Education at One Pulse Foundation, and these are projections of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. through all 4 decades of his life. Second decade, from 1939 to 1949. At age 11, King started 7th grade, excelling in history and English. In 1941, Martin's beloved grandmother passed away, leaving a void of pain and doubt. He grew skeptical of some of Christianity's claims and began questioning the teachings preached at his father's church. At 13 years old, King enrolled in Booker T. Washington High School, the only Atlanta school for black students, and was immediately promoted to 10th grade. He became known for his public speaking ability, joining the debate team. In 1944, Martin gave his first oratorical contest in Dublin, Georgia. In his speech, he stated, "Black America still wears chains. The finest Negro is at the mercy of the meanest white man. Even winners of our highest honors face the class color bar." King passed the entrance exam for Morehouse College at the age of 15 and was enrolled at the university in fall 1944. He was mentored by high school and Baptist minister Benjamin Mays, whom helped Martin restore his Christian faith. He arrived at the notion that the church was the best way to answer his inner urge to serve humanity. King graduated from Morehouse with a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology in 1948 at the age of 19. Following his calling, he enrolled in Crozer Theological Seminary in Upland, Pennsylvania. It is my pleasure and honor now to recite Dr. King's quotes of reflection. King said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" King said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." King said, "I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear." And the unflinching Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." Thank you, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Greetings to Mayor Jerry Demings, the Commission, the entire Orange County government team, and my fellow MLK Initiative members. I am Dr. Renisha Randall, and indeed, I am grateful for this opportunity and to be a part of such a dynamic team. Russell Drake just took us through the first decade of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life in such an enlightening way. Allow me to continue as we journey through the second decade of Dr. King's life, where he continued to thrive, hope, affirm, and certainly transcend. I am reminded of an excerpt from Dr. King's well-known I Have a Dream speech. I can imagine that when Dr. King said he had a dream that one day this nation would rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed, holding these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I can imagine that he thought back to the age of 11 when he began to excel in the subjects history and English. Or perhaps he knew he would be made by history and not a maker of history. Or maybe it was the loss of his grandmother that made his journey more self-evident, where he became skeptical of Christianity. I can imagine that when Dr. King said, "Let us not wallow in the valley of despair, I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream." I can imagine that he reflected on how at the age of 13, he enrolled at Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta, Georgia, and was immediately promoted to the 10th grade. During this same time, he built his skills in public speaking and debating, then went on to win his first oratorical contest in 1944. His speech stated, "Black America still wears chains. The finest Negro is at the mercy of the meanest white man. Even winners of our highest honors face the class color bar." King went on to pass the entrance examination for Morehouse College at the age of 15 and was enrolled at the university in fall of 1944. I can imagine that even after all these accomplishments, King still felt inadequate and as if he was getting the short end of equality. But even with that, Dr. King, he still dreamed. His dream was rooted in the American dream. See, King knew that dreams sometimes require mentors, and Baptist minister Benjamin Mays became his mentor and helped to restore his spiritual beliefs. Having such strong philosophies and critical theories led Dr. King to serve humanity. And after graduating from Morehouse with a BA in sociology in 1948 at the age of 19, he answered his call to become a preacher and enrolled in theological seminary in Upland, Pennsylvania. We all can relate to Dr. King if we examine his life closely. As I reflect on all that has taken place in the second decade of Dr. King's life, it reminds me of being a 7th grader and realizing that English was my favorite subject. Dr. King's life reminds me of losing my grandmother, and oh, how I still miss her today. As an educator, it reminds me of how much joy I get to see students blossom into their full potential in school. His life reminds me of how I love to use the gift of speaking to bring life to others, fostered by oratorical contests when I was a child. I can still remember my first speech titled, "What Makes America Great?" And Dr. King's life reminds me of seeking mentors and accepting purpose for my life. It reminds me of working hard to gain knowledge to make a difference in my community. Dr. King once quoted, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" So let me ask you, what are you doing for others? Does your dream include others, or is it just a dream for you? No matter who you are, what you look like, or where you come from, we can all relate to Dr. King. I challenge you to find your dream. What drives you to thrive? What gives you hope? What motivates you to affirm? And what propels you to transcend? Whatever that is, go be that. Thank you.
Wasn't that just a fabulous program?
It sure was.
Monica and I, along with Orange County Mayor Jerry L. Demings and the entire Orange County Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Initiative team, hope you have enjoyed learning more about the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Or maybe this was just a refresher.
Whatever you gathered, we're glad you had a chance to spend some time reflecting on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s principles, and we hope you'll share this with your friends and family. Please check our website, ocfl.net/MLK, for more information on our upcoming events. Thank you again for joining us today.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.